For 6,000 years, the galaxy had lived under one old fear. The Archeon Empire always returns. They were a mystery wrapped in shadows. Their last visit was so long ago that most species only remembered their name through carved stones, broken ruins, and warnings passed down like nightmares. But every record, every story, every ancient voice said the same thing. When the Archeon return, the stars will shake. And now, they had returned. Far above Jupiter, inside the great defense station known as Helios Crown, everything was calm. Engineers repaired shield arrays. Officers monitored patrol drones. The crew drank warm synthetic coffee and talked about boring duty shifts. Nothing suggested that history was about to break. Then the alarms screamed. Every screen turned red at once. Every sensor pointed toward the same direction in space. A strange energy ripple was moving toward the station, like a silent wave pushing through reality itself. Commander Saren Holt stepped forward, her boots tapping hard on the metal floor. She was calm, sharp, and known for one thing: she never panicked. "What do we have?" she asked. "No idea, Commander," replied the sensor officer. "The signal is old. Very old. I've never seen anything like this." Another officer looked up, fear in his eyes. "Commander, it's coming from outside the galaxy." The bridge fell silent. Then the first message came. Not in human language. Not in any modern alien language. But in a sound that felt like a cold finger running across every mind. "We have returned." The words echoed through the station speakers, even though no one had opened a channel. Saren's eyes narrowed. Her crew felt the air grow heavier, like the room itself was watching them. Before anyone could speak, something massive appeared in deep space. No flash, no warp jump, no engines. It simply arrived, as if it had always been there. A colossal black ship, shaped like a jagged spear, longer than 20 human dreadnoughts. Its surface was covered with glowing symbols that shifted like living scars. "Identify it," Saren ordered. The computer tried, and failed. But the ancient galactic network did not fail. A message flashed across every species' communications grid. Archeon flagship sighted. Level Omega threat. Do not resist. Billions of alien voices cracked with fear across the nets. Entire star nations sent surrender signals. Some begged for mercy. Some prayed. But humanity stayed silent. The crew of Helios Crown stood frozen as the alien ship turned its dark front toward them. A second message arrived, clearer, heavier, filled with the weight of a species that believed it ruled the galaxy. "Kneel. Obey. Your freedom ends now." The words struck the bridge like a hammer. A junior officer whispered, "Commander, what do we do?" Saren Holt did not blink. She looked at the giant cannon that stretched along the station's spine. A weapon banned by every council in the galaxy. A weapon humanity built in secret. The Leviathan Pulse Cannon. Saren slowly placed her hand over the activation panel. "No fear," she said quietly. The alien ship began to charge its own weapon. The lights on its hull grew brighter, almost white, like a star about to explode. The galaxy watched through hidden cameras and spy satellites. Billions waited for humanity to surrender, to kneel like every other species had. But the humans did not kneel. Not a single one. The alien voice returned, this time sharper, angrier. "You are children. You do not understand who we are." Saren exhaled softly. "No," she said. "But you are about to understand who we are." Her hand pressed the final control. The Leviathan cannon roared to life, glowing with blue fire. The station shook. The entire ship trembled. Power levels hit dangerous limits. "Cannon charged," the weapons officer shouted. The Archeon ship aimed directly at them, its energy rising faster than anything the crew had ever seen. Two forces. Two ancient paths. Two wills ready to collide. Across the galaxy, thousands of alien worlds watched the live feed. Some covered their eyes. Some whispered goodbye to Earth. Some prayed the humans would survive, because if they did, it meant the old empire could finally fall. Saren stared at the black, ancient ship. "After 6,000 years," she said, "you return and expect us to kneel?" The Archeon ship fired. A beam of white energy shot across space. And at that exact moment, Saren gave her order. Fire! The Leviathan cannon unleashed a blast of pure blue light. Two titanic forces collided in the darkness of space. The shockwave shook the station, shook Jupiter, shook the very fabric of the nearby void. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Archean Empire felt resistance. Humanity had answered. Humanity had refused to bow. The collision of the two blasts, humanity's Leviathan cannon and the Archean Empire's ancient beam, sent a shockwave tearing through space. It rolled across Jupiter's orbit like a silent storm, shaking the Helios ground station so hard that entire walls groaned. For a moment, everything turned white. White screens, white lights, white noise, then darkness. Only the heartbeat-like hum of emergency power remained. The crew inside Helios Crown lay scattered across the floor. Sparks shot out from broken consoles. Ceiling panels had fallen. The oxygen alarms blinked. And yet, Commander Saren Holt stood. Her uniform was torn, her forehead bleeding, but she stayed upright. She looked out the massive observation window. What she saw froze her in place. The Archean flagship was still there. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just watching. Its hull glowed with strange red symbols, brighter than before, as if the ship was angry. Status! Saren shouted. Officers pulled themselves up. Shields. 12%, one said, coughing. Hull fractures on sections 5 and 9. Life support is stable. Cannon offline. Needs hours to recharge. Saren clenched her jaw. The Archean ship had survived a full Leviathan blast. That alone was impossible. Humanity had built the cannon to crack moons. But the ancient ship looked untouched, like the attack was nothing more than a soft breeze. Then something even stranger happened. A city-sized ring on the alien ship began to rotate. It spun slowly at first, then faster, and a deep vibrating sound echoed through the station, like the growl of a creature older than stars. "What is it doing?" the sensor officer whispered. Before Saren could answer, a wave of energy rippled out from the alien ring. Not a weapon. Something worse. A scan. A scan so powerful that it passed through shields, walls, and even human nervous systems. Every crew member felt it inside their bones, like cold needles sliding across their cells. The sensor screens exploded with information. "It's mapping us," someone shouted. "It's reading our tech, our DNA, our history, everything." Saren felt a chill crawl up her spine. The Archean were not attacking. They were studying humanity, and whatever they learned did not please them. A voice boomed across the station again, deeper this time, filled with anger. "You grow beyond your place. You build weapons you should not have. You reject your ancient masters." The bridge crew exchanged confused looks. Ancient masters? Humanity had never met these beings before. No history book mentioned them. No ruins, no signals, no warnings. And yet the Archean spoke as if humans were nothing but stray children who had disobeyed an old order. Saren did not respond. She refused to speak to a voice that demanded kneeling. But the alien voice continued. "Your strength is unexpected. Your resistance, curious." The red symbols on the alien hull brightened further. "We will test you again." Saren slammed her hand on the console. "Brace for impact." A second energy wave shot from the Archean flagship, this time physical, massive, like a wall of force sweeping across space. It slammed into Helios Crown. Metal screamed. Bulkheads snapped. Gravity flickered. People were thrown into walls and ceilings. And yet, the station held. Barely. Smoke filled the bridge. A fire alarm rang somewhere down the corridor. Officers dragged injured crew to safety. But the most shocking thing was this. The shields had survived. "Shields at 4%, the officer said in disbelief. "But they held, Commander. The shockwave didn't break us." Saren stared at the readout. No species in the galaxy had ever survived a direct Archean shockwave. Not once in 10,000 recorded years. But humanity just had. The Archean ship paused. Almost confused. as if this outcome was not written in their ancient calculations. Across the galaxy, alien governments watched the broadcast stream. Some species gasped. Some cheered quietly. Some began hoping for the first time in centuries. One alien leader whispered to his council, "Humans resist. We must contact them. We need their help before the Empire reaches us." Messages began flooding into Earth's encrypted channels. Requests. Warnings. Pleas. But humanity did not respond yet. Saren stood tall again and wiped the blood from her brow. "Damage report," she said. The response was grim, but manageable. Life support alive. Engine arrays functional. Weapon systems damaged, but reparable. Then a quiet beeping came from the communication console. A private transmission. Locked. Hidden. Old. The officer frowned. "Commander, this message comes from deep space. No sender ID. And it's using a frequency older than human civilization." Saren's eyes narrowed. "Play it." The speakers crackled. A small, shaky voice spoke. "Humans, if you are hearing this, then the Archeon have awakened again." The entire bridge leaned closer. "We were once like you. We fought them. We resisted. We survived long enough to leave this warning." Saren's pulse quickened. "They do not return to rule. They return to erase." Static swallowed the voice. The message ended. Saren looked at her crew. "Now we know why they are here," she said. And outside, the Archeon flagship began charging a weapon unlike anything seen before. The Archeon flagship floated in the dark like a giant scar across the stars. Its red symbols burned brighter, spreading across its hull like living fire. Inside Helios' crown, every crew member felt the tension tightening in their chest. Commander Saren Holt stood at the center of the bridge, staring at the paused recording of the ancient message, the warning left by a forgotten species. A species that claimed it once resisted the Archeon. A species that was now gone. Saren pressed play again, hoping the message might continue. But the recording only repeated the same last words. "They do not return to rule. They return to erase." Erase what? Erase who? Erase why? The questions circled inside her mind. The ship trembled again as the alien flagship charged a strange weapon, its rotating ring spinning faster now. The lights on the ring shifted from red to white, as if preparing for something far more deadly than before. But Saren did not panic. She turned to her science team. "Break that message down," she said. "Find anything we missed." The techs got to work, digging into the old signal, rewinding, slowing, isolating fragments. Then, one officer gasped. "Commander, there's something hidden under the final line." A second voice. Very faint. Saren nodded. "Play it." The speakers crackled softly. A whisper emerged, weak, broken, almost lost in the static. "Humanity. Not the first. Not the last." Then silence. The crew looked at one another uneasily. "Not the first. Not the last," someone repeated. "What does that mean?" Before Saren could answer, the bridge's holomap suddenly shifted. The galaxy expanded in a giant projection. Hundreds of old star systems lit up in red. The computer spoke. "Recovered Archeon data detected. Mapping lost civilizations." One by one, red markers spread across the map like blood drops. 1 system. 10 systems. 50. 100. Names of ancient species appeared, most unknown even to the galaxy's oldest archives. The Archeon had erased them. Completely. No ruins. No orbit debris. No graves. Nothing. It was as if each civilization had been carefully removed from existence. Saren felt her stomach tighten. This was not just conquest. Not domination. This was cleaning, a purge of anything that dared grow too strong. Humanity's growth, its fast rise, its technology, its will, was the reason the Archeon returned now. The Archeon voice suddenly filled the bridge again, calm but heavy. "Humans, you were never meant to wake. Never meant to rise. We warned the galaxy once. It did not listen. So we erased them." The crew froze. Saren whispered. "So that's it. You choose who lives? We choose what remains, the alien answered. Every officer clenched their fists. No one spoke, but every face told the same story: anger. For generations, humanity had fought its own battles. Wars, famine, storms, disease. They had earned their place in the stars through sacrifice and struggle. No ancient empire had the right to decide their fate. Suddenly, the alien ship's rotating ring stopped. A deep, thunderous vibration filled space. What is it doing now? Someone asked, voice shaking. A weapons officer checked the readings. His face drained of all color. Commander, this isn't a weapon. It's a memory device. Saren frowned. Memory. The officer nodded. It's projecting something. Not at us, into space. Something old. The entire galaxy feed lit up. Billions of screens across hundreds of worlds showed the same thing. A memory. A recording older than civilization itself. A field of stars appeared. But half were burning. Planets cracked open like eggs. Fleets of Archeon ships moved in perfect formation, wiping out world after world. Then came the most chilling part. A young species stood against them. Not humans. Not any species known today. They looked strong, smart, brave, united. They fought with weapons humans had never seen. Their fleets were enormous. But it did not matter. The Archeon erased them. The entire memory ended with one sentence. Rise too fast, and fall forever. The bridge fell silent. The crew finally understood the truth. Humanity's progress, speed, and power were not accidents. They were threats. And the Archeon had come to prevent another uprising. Another species strong enough to challenge their rule. The galaxy had forgotten the last resistance. Humanity would not. Saren stood taller, her voice steady. Send a message to Earth, she ordered. Tell them everything. And prepare the fleets. Commander, the comm officer said softly. Every alien nation is watching the broadcast. They're terrified. Saren nodded. Good. Let them watch. Let them hope. Outside, the Archeon flagship began charging its new weapon fully. A weapon built to erase civilizations. The weapon that ended the last rising species. But this time, the humans were ready. Saren stepped forward. Open fire doors. Wake the dark fleets. Her eyes locked on the alien ship. This time, the galaxy will not bow. The memory projection ended, but the fear it created did not fade. Across the galaxy, billions of eyes watched the stream. Some cried. Some prayed. Some whispered to their leaders. Humans might be our last chance. On Helios Crown, the air was heavy. The station shook as the Archeon flagship charged its new weapon. Brighter, deadlier, powerful enough to erase an entire star system. But Commander Saren Holt did not look scared. She looked ready. Wake the dark fleets, she repeated. The officers stared at her for a moment, unsure if they heard right. The dark fleets were humanity's most secret creation. Unregistered, hidden, invisible. Even most of Earth's own governments believed they were only rumors. But Saren knew the truth. She had commanded their construction. Deep under Jupiter's shadow, in tunnels made of compressed dark matter, the silent hangars opened. Rows of black ships, massive, sharp, quiet, came online for the first time. Lights flickered across each hull. Engines hummed with a low, dangerous sound. The galaxy had never seen these ships before. Humanity had kept them hidden for a day like this. A day when an old enemy returned. On the bridge, a screen lit up. Dark Fleet Omega, awake. Saren allowed herself one small breath. Good, she said. Launch them. Across space, the hidden ships rose from their dark tunnels like predators waking from a long sleep. Their hulls absorbed light. Their engines left no trails. To sensors, they were ghosts. The Archeon saw none of them. For the first time since the encounter began, the alien flagship hesitated. Not because it sensed the fleet, but because it sensed something else. Human defiance. The red symbols on the Archeon hull flickered, almost disturbed, as if the ship did not understand how this small, young species still stood. Inside Helios Crown, The crew worked non-stop. Gravity stabilizers online. Pulse shields returning to 20%. Weapon coils recharging. Dark Fleet Alpha in position, the comm officer said. Dark Fleet Beta ready. Gamma standing by. Saren looked at the galaxy map. 3 fleets. Thousands of silent ships. Unknown to everyone, even to humanity's closest allies. They were humanity's real strength. We hold the line, she said softly. Then the Archeon voice returned. Cold. Sharp. Angry. Humans. You rise too fast. You break the old rules. Your fate is sealed. Saren stepped forward. And you talk too much. For a moment, there was silence. Even the ancient ship seemed confused. Then the Archeon weapon fully charged. A giant sphere of white energy formed at the center of the rotating ring. Space warped around it. Nearby asteroids cracked. Jupiter's clouds shifted violently. If this weapon fired, the station would vanish instantly, and Earth would be the next target. Saren raised her hand. Dark fleets, prepare counterstrike. The officers looked nervous. Every simulation showed the same outcome. One mistake meant extinction. But humanity had never won by fear. They won by doing what others refused to do. Saren's voice firmed. On my mark. The Archeon weapon glowed brighter, so bright it lit the station like a second sun. Suddenly, an officer yelled, Commander! Incoming transmission from Earth! The hollow screen lit up. It was Earth Defense Prime Minister Arion Locke, his voice calm but urgent. Commander Holt, the World Council has reviewed your data. The Archeon threat is real. You have full authority. The fleets are yours. Saren nodded once. At that moment, she was not just a commander. She carried all of humanity behind her. Earth, Mars, Venus, Jovian colonies, outer settlements, everyone. For the first time in history, humanity stood united. The Archeon voice echoed again, this time louder. This is your final chance. Kneel. Saren's eyes hardened. Fire. The dark fleets moved. Not loud. Not bright. Not with huge explosions. They moved like shadows. Thousands of black ships jumped across the battlefield at once, appearing behind the Archeon flagship in perfect silence. The alien ship reacted too late. A wave of human pulse missiles hit its rear shields. Blue and white flashes lit the darkness. For the first time, the Archeon flagship shook. Across the galaxy, aliens gasped. They hit it. They actually hit the Archeon ship. Inside the alien vessel, new symbols flared. Symbols the galaxy had not seen for 6,000 years. Symbols of pain. Symbols of surprise. Symbols of fear. Saren smiled just a little. So you do bleed, she whispered. The Archeon flagship roared in anger, its white sphere of energy growing unstable. Its weapon would fire any second. The bridge shook again. Commander! Energy levels spiking. We need to hit the weapon now. Saren pointed toward the hologram. Dark Fleet, target the ring weapon. Full fire. Outside, thousands of human ships turned their cannons toward the rotating ring. The Archeon leader spoke one last time. You cannot change fate. Saren replied. Watch us. A storm of human fire erupted across space. The ring began to break. Cracks spread across its ancient surface. Pieces shattered. The white sphere flickered. Unstable. Dangerous. Ready to explode. Saren held her breath. The galaxy watched. And then, the Archeon weapon collapsed in on itself. A silent implosion. A flash of white light. The ancient weapon was gone. Humanity had broken it. The Archeon weapon exploded in a silent flash, folding in on itself like crushed light. For a moment, all of space went still. The galaxy held its breath. Inside Helios' crown, the crew stared at the screen in disbelief. We broke their main weapon, one officer whispered. But Commander Saren Holt did not celebrate. Her eyes stayed locked on the red glowing symbols spreading across the alien ship's hull. That wasn't their only weapon, she said quietly. They're just getting started. She was right. The Archeon flagship shook. Once, then twice, like a beast waking from deep anger. Massive panels opened along its sides, revealing row after row of strange objects. The sensor officer gasped. "Commander, those aren't missiles. They're drones. Thousands of them." No one had ever seen Archeon war drones before. Rumors said they could take down entire fleets alone. Now humanity would see the truth. The drones launched. Small black spheres shot out into space, then unfolded into horrific shapes. Each drone carried 3 rotating blades, a hovering core of red energy, and a tail like a whip made of plasma. They moved like a swarm of razor-sharp shadows. The dark fleets opened fire at once. Pulse beams, missile storms, electromagnetic bursts. The space around Jupiter lit up with streaks of blue and white fire. But the Archeon drones dodged every shot. Their movements were too fast, almost unnatural. "Commander, they're targeting our engines. They're going for weak points. They're reading our strategy." Saren clenched her jaw. The drones were learning. Every second, every shot, every human pattern. "Form rotation shield pattern," she ordered. "Force them into crossfire zones." Human ships shifted position, forming spirals and rings around the battlefield. They fired in controlled timing, creating layers of overlapping fire. Some drones finally exploded, sparks of red vanishing into the void. But more kept coming. 10 destroyed. 20 destroyed. Hundreds still pushing forward. A human cruiser screamed across comms. "Drones breaching hull. We've lost Deck 5 air." The signal cut. Another cruiser exploded, scattering debris near Ganymede. The galaxy watched the chaos unfold. Some alien leaders whispered, "Humans cannot win. It is impossible. No one fights the Archeon and survives." But they had never seen humanity at full strength. They had never seen what came next. Inside Helios Crown, Saren's tactical officer shouted, "Commander! The Titan Protocol! It's charging!" A deep vibration ran through the station's core. Lights flickered. Gravity wobbled. The entire structure seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Saren nodded slowly. "Good. Bring it online." The Titan Protocol was one of humanity's most secret weapons. A reality-bending pulse engine hidden inside Helios Crown. Not built to kill. Not built to destroy. Built to change the battlefield itself. The Archeon drones sensed the energy spike. They broke formation, turning toward the station like a hungry wave. Saren stood tall. "Pulse will fire in 60 seconds, the officer said. "Hold them off," Saren ordered. The dark fleets moved, forming a protective shield around the station. Black hulls glowing with stress, weapons overheating, crews exhausted. 30 seconds. The drones slammed into the human line. Hull plates cracked. Shields collapsed. Explosions rippled across the fleet. Still the humans held. 15 seconds. A drone slammed into Helios Crown itself. The hallway shook. Crew members fell as sparks rained from the ceiling. 7 seconds. Saren gripped the command rail with bleeding hands. 5, 4, 3. The drones broke through the last defense line. They rushed toward the station. 2, 1. Saren shouted. "Fire!" The Titan Protocol activated. A giant wave of blue energy burst out of the station. Not loud, not violent, but heavy like the universe itself bending. It spread across the battlefield. Through drones. Through ships. Through the Archeon flagship. Everything froze. Literally froze. The drones stopped moving mid-flight, hanging like statues in space. The Archeon flagship's red symbols flickered, confused. Even light seemed slower. Time itself hiccuped. The crew stared in shock. "It worked," someone whispered. "It actually worked." The Titan Pulse had locked all enemy systems for a short window. A window humanity desperately needed. Saren stepped forward. "All fleets, fire everything." Thousands of human cannons lit up the battlefield. Drones shattered like glass. Archeon shields cracked under combined fire. Missiles tore through the flagship's outer armor. For the first time since their return, the Archeon flagship was damaged. Badly. A deep, ancient scream echoed through every channel. Not words. Not a message. But pure rage. The Archeon had not expected resistance like this. Certainly not from humans. Saren's voice stayed calm. Now the real battle begins. The Titan pulse faded. The battlefield returned to motion. Slow at first, then fast, then violent. Drones fell apart. Ships spun. Fire streaked through space. But the biggest change was on the Archeon flagship itself. For the first time in thousands of years, its armor had cracked. A jagged wound glowed along the giant vessel's side. Sparks burst out like blood from an ancient beast. Commander Saren Holt saw the opening, and she knew what had to be done. "Prepare the boarding teams," she said. Her officers stared at her, shocked. "Commander, you want to go inside the Archeon ship? No species has ever." "That's exactly why we must," Saren replied. "We need answers. We need control. And we need to end this before they recover." The crew obeyed. Within minutes, armored human marines loaded onto a strike vessel, the Vanguard 3, a fast assault ship built for suicide missions. Saren joined them. When she stepped inside, helmets turned toward her. "Commander on deck." She nodded, her voice strong. "We enter, we find their command center, and we take their core. No fear. No hesitation." The ship undocked and sped toward the alien wound. Behind her, the dark fleets kept the drones busy, firing non-stop to buy her time. The Archeon flagship grew larger on the screen, its surface a maze of black armor, red veins, and ancient symbols that pulsed like a living heartbeat. Vanguard 3 entered the open wound. Darkness swallowed the ship. No lights. No gravity. No sound. It was like entering the corpse of a fallen god. The landing gear extended and locked onto a strange metallic floor. Smooth, cold, almost glass-like. "Masks on," Saren ordered. "Guns ready." The door opened. The humans stepped into an alien corridor that seemed to stretch forever. Walls covered in moving symbols, like they were watching the intruders. A whisper echoed through the passage. "Humans, inside our vessel." The Marines raised their weapons. Another whisper. "Bold. Or foolish." Saren did not stop walking. Her boots hit the strange floor with confident steps. "Keep moving," she said. As they advanced, the air grew heavier. Shadows slid along the walls. Whispers grew louder, speaking in languages no human recognized. Then the corridor opened into a massive chamber, bigger than any human hall. At the center stood a tall figure. It was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The Archeon High Lord. A towering being of black armor fused with living energy. 6 glowing eyes. 2 long arms ending in blade-like claws. A shape both machine and creature. The Marines froze. The High Lord stepped forward, its voice filling every corner of the chamber. "So, the children enter the throne of their masters." Saren stared straight at it. "We have no masters." The creature tilted its head slowly. "You do not understand what you are. You were designed, built, released. We shaped the early galaxy. We created the first sparks of life." The Marines exchanged nervous glances. Saren kept her aim steady. "Lies," she said. The High Lord's eyes brightened. "Not lies. Purpose. Every rising species must be tested. The weak kneel. The strong perish. Before they challenge us." Saren stepped closer. "You erased whole civilizations because they grew too fast. They forgot their creators." "You're not creators," Saren said. "You're cowards afraid of competition." A deep rumble shook the chamber. Anger. The High Lord raised its clawed hand. "Humanity rises too fast. Just like the old ones. You are a repeating problem." Saren tightened her grip on her rifle. "And we are about to become your last problem." The High Lord spread its arms wide. "Then face me, child of a broken design." The Marines opened fire. Pulse rounds shot across the chamber. Explosions lit the room. Smoke filled the air. But when the smoke cleared, the High Lord still stood. untouched. It moved with terrifying speed, crossing the chamber in a single step, its claws striking the floor and sending shockwaves through the room. Marines flew back, hitting walls hard. Saren rolled to the side and fired a focused plasma burst. This time, the High Lord staggered, its armor glowing where the shot hit. It looked at her differently now, almost impressed. Stronger than expected. Saren charged forward. Her boots skidded on the alien metal as she leaped, firing again, once to the chest, once to the head. The High Lord swung its arm. Saren blocked with her rifle, which shattered instantly. She slid under its next strike and hit it with a direct blast from a wrist-mounted detonator. The explosion threw both of them apart. Marines fired again, pushing the creature into a corner. The High Lord roared, an ancient, painful sound, as cracks spread across its armor. "You are not supposed to resist." Saren wiped the blood from her cheek. "That's the thing about humans," she said. "We don't listen to what we're supposed to do." With a final charge, the Marines unleashed everything. Rockets, plasma rounds, pulse grenades. The chamber erupted. Metal tore. Light flashed. The High Lord fell to its knees, its armor glowing with fractures. It tried to stand, but Saren placed the barrel of a heavy pulse pistol against its head. "This is for every world you erased." She fired. The High Lord's armor shattered, its body collapsing into a cloud of fading red light. Silence filled the chamber. The Marines looked around, stunned. Saren breathed out. "One down," she said quietly. "Now let's take the core and finish this." The battlefield in Earth's orbit looked like a broken storm, floating metal, glowing debris, and silent drifting warships. But humanity was still standing. Their engines still burned. Their shields still held. Their spirit had not broken. Commander Zara stood on the command deck of the Terran flagship Helios Prime, watching the last of the Vorton dreadnoughts drift without power. Her uniform was torn, her voice tired, but her eyes still held fire. For the first time in 6,000 years, the galaxy had seen humanity fight without fear. But the war was not finished yet. The Vorton regent, leader of the ancient alien empire, had not shown himself. He watched everything from a hidden throne ship somewhere beyond Neptune. And everyone on the bridge knew he would not leave without one final attempt to crush Earth. "Commander," the sensor officer said, "we detect a massive energy spike. A new ship is coming." Zara nodded. "It's him." The galaxy had waited millennia for this confrontation. Humanity had waited even longer. Far beyond Pluto, space twisted like hot glass. A huge shadow stepped out, bigger than anything the humans had faced. A fortress in space. A throne carved into a star. The Vorton regent's personal cruiser. The crew gasped. "Is that a ship?" one officer whispered. Zara stared at it calmly. "No. That is the symbol of their rule. The same one they used when they first came to Earth 6,000 years ago. It was the ship that once demanded humans bow. Now it would face humans who refused to kneel." The regent's voice echoed across every channel. "Deep, cold, ancient. Humans, you have forgotten your place." Zara stepped forward. "No, we never forgot. We simply stopped listening." There was silence. Then the regent spoke again. "Your technology is a spark. Mine is a sun. Your rebellion ends now." The alien ship lit up with brilliant energy, ready to fire a galaxy-breaking weapon. If it hit Earth, everything would end. The crew froze. But Zara didn't. She smiled. "Captain Rian, prepare the message." He turned to her. "You want to send it now?" "Yes. The galaxy needs to hear us." Across the entire star network, billions of alien beings looked up as their screens flickered. Every world, every station, every empire, everyone saw the broadcast. A human stood on the screen. Calm, strong, unbroken. Commander Zara spoke clearly. "We do not kneel. Not to threats. Not to fear. Not to ancient rulers." The stars behind her glowed with the fire of human ships. "You came to Earth after 6,000 years demanding submission. But you found a species that learned, built, fought, and grew. We are not the same humans you met long ago." She leaned forward. If you want to test our strength, come. But understand this. Humanity never bows again. The message ended. The galaxy held its breath. The Vorten regent roared with anger and fired his superweapon. A massive beam of white heat tore through space. Entire planets could be cracked by this single shot. The humans had seconds. Zara shouted, "All ships, form the Aegis Wall." More than 500 Terran vessels moved as one. Their shields linked, merging into a single giant barrier shaped like a glowing sphere. The beam struck. The stars dimmed. The shields trembled like glass in a storm. Every officer felt their bones shake. Every engine screamed. Every hull cracked. Still, humanity held. The beam faded. Zara whispered, "Return fire." Earth's fleet unleashed everything. Rail cannons, solar lances, plasma bursts, gravity torpedoes. The space around them turned into a storm of light. The regent's ship staggered as explosions rippled across its surface. For the first time, he looked afraid. Inside the shattered throne ship, the regent sent one final transmission. "Humans, you have changed. The galaxy will fear you." Zara replied softly, "Let them. Fear brings respect. But peace comes only when no one tries to chain us again." Her voice carried across the stars. The age of silent humanity is over. The final blow hit the regent's ship. The throne cracked. The giant fortress broke apart into fire and dust. Silence fell across space. The war was over. Earth's fleet looked battered but proud. Sparks flickered from damaged hulls. Medical ships moved between survivors. Soldiers cheered weakly through smoke-filled rooms. Captain Rian approached Zara. "Commander, the galaxy. They're talking about us." Zara looked at Earth from the window. Blue, bright, still alive. "Good," she said. "Let them talk. Let them remember." He asked softly, "What do we do now?" Zara smiled. "Now we rebuild. We protect our world. And if any empire returns after another 6,000 years," her eyes narrowed with confidence, "we will be ready." Thus ended the longest silence in history. Humanity had risen. Humanity had fought. Humanity had refused to bow. And the galaxy would never forget it.